The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on Sunday.
This is about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Guns up.
Giddy up, y'all.
Man, I'll tell you, technical difficulties again this week. Got a new camera, got a new microphone, still couldn't get it right. It's because I'm still pissed off at fucking, what is it, Guitar Center?
Was it Best Buy?
Is that where I was at all day today?
Well,
no,
I think
Best
you're
Buy
at both.
hooked me up. Guitar Center, right? That's the name of the guitar
That's where
place?
you went later, yeah.
It's Guitar Center?
Yes.
God, motherfuckers, dude. They fucked me all day. But you know what? It's Night Shift, baby. Welcome to Failure to Stop Night Shift. And we are the #1 show where police meet society and culture. And Night Shift is quickly becoming one of the biggest shows on the network, even though we just keep having all of these problems at the beginning of every show. I'm Jim Terry. Hi, I'm Jim Terry. I'm the PI, everybody, the famous PI from New Orleans, but really from Florida, because I'm not really a real PI, sitting next to a real Hooters whore. True crime should be only for men who know what they're doing, and it should just be nothing but men and not Hooters whores like the one I'm sitting next to. Did I nail it?
Perfect.
Did I nail Jim Terry?
You did. That's his dream.
If anybody's wondering, we are dressed up for Halloween. Happy Halloween. I'm not sitting next to a real life whore. Neither am I a chauvinistic pig of a PI either that played for some bullshit arena football team, which is what my jersey says today. Bullshit arena football team. Not even a real football player. But if you're just stumbling into this failure, it's right. He was a kicker, wasn't he? It's even worse.
I know.
Not even a real football player for not even a real football team. But one of my favorite episodes of all time.
For sure.
Was that?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been insulted
episode?
right. I said for sure. I don't think I've been insulted right off the, right out of the gate. I mean, just like show started. That was fun.
Yeah, and he just laid right into you. He didn't lay you, but he laid right into you.
No.
But if for those who are just stumbling in the show for the first time, this is the Failure to Stop podcast. This is the Night Shift show. We do 4 shows a week. They're all different. Mike the Cop and He Big Daddy bring us all the police-related news every Monday. Tuesday nights, it's all about the audacious and beautiful Andrea up late, giving us all the true crime that you could ever want, and I simply react to it. On Thursday, I bring you all the other things that you need to know so that you have something else to talk about over the weekend to your civilian friends other than dead babies and domestic violence. Making cops sound cool since 2021, baby. And then Friday's our case breakdown with myself and Mike the Cop and our substitute teacher, Drew Breezy. Also, go over to our YouTube channel, hit that like and subscribe button because we're coming out with content like fucking 5 days a week. And Drew Breezy's helping out a lot with that. We're going to be in Cincinnati, live in Cincinnati on November 8th. It's a Tuesday, snooze day. We're going to be there with Lieutenant Colonel Scheller. We're going to be there with I Am Pitts. I'm going to be there with Drew Breezy and the One More and I'm Out of Here podcast group. It'll be a live show at a bar. I do have the name of the bar, but because we they're not selling tickets, but we don't want to bring in a lot of people and shut this bar down on a Tuesday to where they don't have staffing. So if you're going to go and you're really serious about going, you need to DM myself at Eric Tansey Official or Failure to Stop. And if you don't get a response in a day, hit it again and again. And we will give you the address to the bar that we're going to be at in Cincinnati, and you can come and hang out with us.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
That's all I have for news. That's all I have for news. Tonight's show is brought to you by Ghost Bed. It is our Halloween show. So obviously Ghost Bed's not going to not sponsor that episode. They sponsor every fucking episode. And it sleeps so good, it's scary. And their prices are scary. I think their prices are better over this holiday than our promo code gives you. So if you go to Ghost Bed, I think our promo code gets you 35%, but the running deal right now is 40%. But you can still drop us in the survey at the end of where you heard that.
Yep.
Like, where did you hear from us from? Just put Failure Stuff. And then also we have a new sponsor tonight for tonight's show called iTarget. And you'll hear the ad read later. But it's really, really, really awesome. I can't wait to get mine in the mail. They're shipping me mine so that I can play with it and then I can really tell you all about it. But I have played with an iTarget before. It's just not my own personal iTarget. And so it's cool. Definitely helps you with that those dry firing exercises. So, and I think the promo code there is Wolfpack. They're brand new. They're right off the gate. So if you have problems, send us a message, work with us, whatever. And you can also DM Drew Breezy. He's in the live chats. For those of you who don't know, this is a live show. It goes out on YouTube. 99% of our people are on YouTube, on podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, iTunes. But we do have like 100 or so people that drop into the live chat on the YouTubes. So we do address them. But I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop talking because it's all about Halloween. It's all
but
about
if you're Jim Terry, then don't.
Hooters whore. If I'm Jim Terry, I just keep going all night, make it all about me.
Yeah.
Back when I was
every
kicker.
4 words that I get. Actually, what you need to do.
He was a homosexual. He was a homosexual. The house was a gay house. Gay house. The house was gay. That's why it was haunted. It was full of gays. And the Mormons don't like gay horses or houses or Hooters managers.
Yes.
It's all gay. When have you seen that house with another woman? Never. It's a gay house.
And then the only other thing you could do to make it more
true crime falls into 2 categories: men that know what they're talking about, and women who just want to talk, but they can't talk because the men talk over them.
Because they're
bunch of
over
lonely
makeup,
housewives,
housewives,
big tits. Yeah. So shut the fuck up. This is Jim Terry's show. I'm doing the true crime tonight. I'm just kidding. What if I did that like all the time? Like just interrupt you all the time.
Well, I mean, we had that show. So the only
it would sound something like this. Just
the only other thing you could do is just start like attacking our listeners. Just be like, I know your son. I know your son is a drug addict. You know what I mean? That's like
David Osborne's in the chat. His son's a whore. His son is a gay whore. Welding Panzer's son's a gay whore too, who's under a bridge with a heroin needle sticking out of his asshole.
That's what it was. Again, let me put a little disclaimer, guys. If you're just listening, and maybe you haven't listened to us that long, we are being characters right now from a previous show we've done, highlighting one particular person. So we do not talk like this. Well, not so much like that.
Sarah Kelch is a whore. Sarah Kelch is in a whore. She's in the chats. She's a homosexual. And her parents hate her. That's why she left Russia, because she's a homosexual. And she has no parents. She's an orphan homosexual from Russia. By the way, I'm acting, but that was a real dude that was on our show. And he literally acted. I'm pretty much like Jim Terry right now.
Yeah, you're doing a good job.
Everybody's gay.
I'm catching myself making the same faces I made when he spoke. A lot of that. Just a lot of this.
Just a lot of God.
I just can't.
I get that from you like 3 times a show. You did it to him like the entire episode.
The whole time. Well, we joke about that, right? Because we didn't have time to talk. So we just kept pouring like wine or champagne. Well, I don't even know what all we had on the table. We just kept, all right, keep talking, guy.
David Irving dropping a super chat, $20. He says, for the Hooters young lady noise. David Irving, You're a gay whore who was under a bridge and your mom's looking for you. Stop being a gay heroin addicted whore.
I can't tell what direction this is going to take
Keep
us.
your $20. Buy more heroin.
Is this going to really boost us? My only concern is new listeners. That's all. So that's my only concern.
If you're a new listener, it's because you're gay. So bad. I'm having so much fun. If you're Jim Terry for Halloween, you can just say whatever the fuck you want. As long as you put gay, whore, and heroin all in the same sentence, you can say whatever the fuck you want. You can make fun of whoever you want. It's legit. As long as you call them gay, a heroin addict, and a whore.
Oh, God bless. All right. Well,
I've had a day. I needed it.
You did need an outlet.
The guy at Guitar Center. The guy at the Guitar Center is a gay whore.
Well, you already only gave him 1 star, so I feel like you already got a leg up.
Got him. That 1-star bitch.
Take it.
Take that 1-star Google review. You washed up, never has been guitar player that now works at Guitar Center. You're too tall to play guitar.
Can you imagine how you would have reacted to him if you walked in dressed like this? Like if you were like a method actor. So you already. Oh, Duck Ducks says that we should have swapped costumes. We did consider that briefly.
I didn't want to dress like a whore, like a homosexual heroin addict whore whose mother hates him.
Oh, there was a lot of that. Oh man, I forgot about the maternal hatred talk.
I didn't realize how much fun I was gonna have getting into Jim Terry character. I may never leave it. I may be like full retard at this point. I might be like what's the movie Ben Stiller? Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Never go full retard. I think I just went full Jim Terry.
Listen, I want to real quick, and we'll get the show started for real. But you guys did a great job. So we asked for ideas for costumes, and you came through. And so a lot of them, the one, Eric, I might have mentioned it to you that I really liked was that you and I swap. So I would be you would be me. And the problem is I know I have instill paraphernalia that I could wear. I don't have like an RPD hat, which I just feel like you wear it on the shows. That would be
We have the same size. We have the same size tits. That's cool.
We're not swapping bras.
That was Jim Terry. That was Jim Terry talking.
That's exactly what he would say.
Jim Terry.
Oh God. So I like that idea, but then I liked I think conjoined twins was my favorite if I could have been in studio. If we could have been side by side just wearing sharing an oversized shirt. Sharing an oversized shirt, you know what I mean? I can't do that very well. With 2 heads coming out of the hole there. I think that would have been amazing. But anyway.
Try it again. No, keep leaning. No, all the way. You gotta there we go. Now we're twins. Now we're like not very much. Not very hard. You gotta go harder.
It's as hard as I can.
Get deeper in there.
Stop it.
Right there. Yep.
Stop.
Nope. Put some Mo Jay-Z on them Val's Day. Don't even know what that means. Gotta love the live chats tonight. Ben Marsh is in the chat. Drew Beasy, Sarah, David J, Welding Panzer, Hydroman Blue. Everybody, Duck. There's a lot of people in here for the Halloween episode. Thank you guys so much for getting on there. We're gonna get into some true crime. What you worry about it, you podcast listeners. That's what you get for not tuning into the live show. That's what you get for having lives and children, and jobs and shit.
Yeah.
You can't spend your 8 o'clock live with us on the YouTubes.
On a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday. If you were a 21-year kicker in the AFL, I don't know. That's all I had for there. Arena Football League.
What's the difference in that and American Football League?
Who fucking knows? Who cares?
Okay.
It's not real football.
I don't actually care.
It's like scooter kids. Like you can't. Like if you're a scooter kid, you're not a skater. You're a fucking scooter kid.
No, you're just snaking at the skate park.
You're just a snake, dude.
It's a snake.
I'm just kidding. My kids have a couple of scooter riders. Scooter riders and scooter kids aren't the same thing. It's like state troopers and Marines. They're not the same thing, but they're both
But very
gay
similar.
whores that are heroin addicts. Oh. David Osborne says Ruben is gonna go as whiteface. Okay. I'm guessing Ruben's black. Can black people do whiteface? I'm gonna have to ask Ian Pitts when we're in Cincinnati.
He
Is
would
that
say,
racist? That's
yeah.
probably not racist.
Oh, he wouldn't care if you asked him that.
If I'm black, I would do whiteface all the time. Because I want that privilege, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. All right.
I want that white privilege.
Lord. Okay, I can't even. I'm not going to read. Okay. So this story starts in Chicago in 1971. So the Becker House is what it's known as. There are a lot of them throughout the nation. So if you want to look this up, make sure you're looking specifically into Chicago. Ruben. That you're looking at Chicago because that's the actual one that we're talking about tonight. So this house became famous when it was publicized as the first live or first televised exorcism, and that was in 1971 on NBC. Also, they were
What?
highlighted. Huh?
A televised exorcism? That's what we're doing tonight?
Well, no, that's not what.
Did you know?
we are doing.
I don't know if you knew this or not. I don't know if you know this or not. But my two biggest fears in life are cats, big cats, like
I knew
lions
that.
and tigers and shit,
And being possessed.
and exorcisms. Yeah. No, like just exorcisms. Like just the idea of all of it. Like I'm telling you, a real quick story before we jump into this. A woman called 911 because she was old as
You're
shit.
living up to
She
your
had this like
character, by the way.
duplex house.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Talk like this. Shut up, whore. The men are speaking. Better seen than heard. Get upstairs.
He
Make me a
literally
sandwich.
said that. He said that.
I know. Better seen than heard. He said a lot of things. He's a real piece of shit. But licensed in like all 61 states.
States in America.
62 states. 62 states. But no, she called the police and said that there was a ghost in her attic. And I got there to her house and somebody called on the radio. They're like, hey, you need a check-in. And I didn't want to say yes because then I didn't want anybody to like call me a coward or a weenie. So I was like, no, I'm good, man. I can handle it. She's like 80 years old. I got it. And she said that there was a voice talking to her in her bedroom from the vent, the AC vent. So I go into her bedroom and right above her fucking bed is an AC vent. And I said, well, what's up there? This is on the second story. She said, that's the attic. And I said, what's the voice? She's like, it's a male voice and it talks to me down from this thing. And I was like, oh my, what? And I was like, where, like, how do you get up into your attic? And she was like, oh, it's a pull down thing in the hallway. So we go out in the hallway and she already gets to pulling this thing down. So I pull my gun out and she was like, oh my goodness, what are you going to do with that? And I said, I mean, if there's somebody up there talking to you and they're up in the attic, I mean, I'm might liable to shoot them. And she's like, well, I don't think it's of this world. And I said, don't give a fuck. I'm still going to try. I'm going to die trying. I'm going to die spraying bullets all over your fucking attic. If something talks to me up there, I'm shooting at it. I ended up like yelling into the dark abyss for him to make it so like, let me know that you're up here, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I walk up there with my flashlight, shit in my pants. There's nothing up there. There was nothing up there. But if there would have been, I would have shot it because I don't fuck around with ghosts, period.
So
if it's haunted, I'll burn it the fuck down.
Yeah. So listen, actually, and I'll give you a super quick story, but there was a time when years ago was house hunting in East Tennessee, and it was like around this like historic college area. It was really, really pretty. And all these houses were pretty from around Civil War time up. And there was this one house that I fell in love with, and I just knew I wanted to paint it like blue and the hydrangeas, the whole thing, and the sunroom, and I was going to homeschool the kids in this whatever. And it had been on the market for a long time, and it was not a market to have been on the market for a long time. So that should have been my first grab. Anyway, I'm there, went so far as to pay for the appraisal, the inspection, was about to close on this thing. And at the last minute, went up in the attic. Hadn't really been up in the attic before. And I go up there, and there's a single, like, the house is vacant. And there's a single crucifix, like on a necklace, hanging from like a rafter, like a beam in the middle of the attic,
Wow.
like It was like 2 inches tall, and it was just hanging. That was the only thing in the entire house that was someone's personal belongings. And I was like, I don't know if someone did that, prophylactically, or it's because something was going on, like they just wanted to bless the house, or something happened and they put it there. I don't know. I just know that to this day, they've had renters in and out. They've never been able to sell that house. So might have dodged a bullet there.
Nope, not gonna do it. That's why I have iTarget Pro and a membership to the USCCA, so that I can just be a great shot. I'll even shoot a fucking ghost. Is that an orb?
Yeah, it's like it's gonna be tonight. I am tonight. I'm a Hooters witch. I feel like that's a costume you could probably get. You could probably get that at the Halloween store. Like it wouldn't even be no material. Like somebody's like naked and they're like, I'm a Hooters witch. They just make up shit.
Yeah, you're just riding a ladle instead of a broom.
Like a chicken wing. I'm just riding a chicken wing.
Dude, I went to an all black Hooters. I went to an all black Hooters, and it was in I always get Greensboro and Goldsboro mixed up. It's one of those boroughs that starts with a G. And there wasn't a single white woman in there. And so I was sitting there, and I was like the only white dude in there. And this waitress comes over to me, and she's like, "Welcome to Hooters, y'all," and like real Southern accent. And I was like, "I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not think you were gonna sound like that before you opened your mouth." And she like laughed. She's like, "What'd you think I was gonna sound like?" And I was like, I mean, she's like, "You thought I was going to sound ghetto black, didn't you?" And I was like, "Shit, no, I wasn't going to say that." She's like, "Well, the funny thing is that all the black girls that work at this Hooters are all Southern, like all Southern fried."
Goldsboro.
And then she's like, "And then all the white girls, they're all ghetto as shit, and they work at the strip club." She's like, "So if you go to the strip club, it's going to be a bunch of white girls talking like they're black."
She's probably not wrong.
Oh, this is fucking cool, man.
She was probably spot on.
Oh, she probably was. I didn't go to the strip club, but I took her word for it.
That's probably wise. Yeah, I think it's wise.
Not that I didn't want to go. I just didn't have time.
I don't think you wanted to go. I'm calling your bluff on that one.
I love going to strip clubs, by the way. I haven't been in fucking like 10 years, but every time I've gone, I've had a blast.
Should we do a live stream from a strip club?
No, I mean only like from the buffet. I'm just saying that every time I've winded up at a strip club, I've had a really good time. I've always wound up. I've always been there with my wife, and it's never been like because we're perverts and we want to see naked people dance. It's always because we're with a group of idiots. Yeah, just with a group of idiots that somehow it's always been weird. It's always been funny how we've ended up there, but we've made the best of it every time we've gone.
That makes sense.
Got a lap dance from a pregnant chick.
Oh my.
Fell on the baby kick.
In 1971, this home was first, again, we're gonna wrap it back around, guys. First televised exorcism in 1971. So we're going to be talking about Ed and Marcia Becker. Again, if you look up this house, make sure it's the Becker home in Chicago. So,
dude, Chicago's so fucked up.
So they left an apartment. Marcia was 7 months pregnant. And so keep in mind, back then, the laws for like landlords and things like that were a lot different than they are now. They could pretty much just say yes or no to anything, right? And they could do it quickly without any, they didn't have like a timeline, or like if you've signed a contract, they have to uphold something. They could just say, hey, I don't want any kids or babies. So she was very, very pregnant. And they said, hey, we don't want, when Ed went to pay that month's rent, he was like, hey, I see your wife's about to have a baby. We don't want babies here. Like, got to get out. So they had to go. And when they started looking for homes, they ran into that a lot. They had a couple of dogs, and a lot of places didn't want either dogs or babies. So they had a tough time finding something, and they were crunched for time based on her delivery date. So they come across this home, which has since been known as the Becker home. And they go to look at it with this realtor, and the price was right. It was in a part of town that he didn't mind. And it was a two-story house. I put some pictures up online if you guys follow me on Instagram, and you can see the house. But it's unassuming. It just is a two-story house there in the suburbs of Chicago. So Ed thought it was actually a decent idea because it would be a good purchase. He could rent out. It was already kind of divided into two apartments. So he wanted to rent out the first floor and live on the second floor. And so then he can start to make some passive income there, right? So they do. What we're going to learn, and we're going to talk about this later, is that at least that we know of, 5 people had died in this home prior, all belonging to the same family at different times over the years. The most recent was a guy named Ben who, let's see if it even says. No, we're not there yet.
Bend
But so we know
over?
that at least
Bend
Did you say
over.
bend over? I thought you said that. So we know that out of the 5, we know that 2 were supposed suicides. 1 was a murder. We don't go into the other 2 very much. 2 occurred on the first floor, 2 occurred on the second floor, and 1 in the basement. So pretty much the whole house, spread through the whole house. A lot of death and dying. Now the house was listed as an aired estate, HEIRED, aired estate, right? So Ed, I've listened to a lot of interviews of him, and he'll say like, "Hey, I mean, I knew that someone probably died in that house, but that happens a lot when you look at bigger cities like that because, oh my, because these houses are older, and what house has someone not died in if it's that old?" And that's a good point. So he wasn't too concerned about it at all, and in fact, it meant that he was getting a good price because the family couldn't seem to decide what to do with it. I think we know now probably there's a bit more going on than just that. So they get there with their realtor, and immediately upon entering, this woman comes around the corner who lives there. So she is the last living relative to the estate. And she's an older woman. She's got a poodle under her arm, and she was described as just incredibly dirty, very, very disheveled, hair in disarray, the whole thing, and starts screaming profanities at them and screaming at the top of her lungs to get out, you'll never own this house, all of these things. To the point where Ed said later, he was like, it wasn't even just, I mean, this woman was clearly mentally ill. He said he described her, I believe, as filthy and rabid. That's how she came across to him. So the realtor, once they decided they did actually want the house, the realtor assured them that she would be out as soon as closing occurred, and they wouldn't have to worry about her anymore. But they would see her staring at like an open cabinet, just staring into an empty open cabinet, laughing maniacally, just crazy, super. What are you laughing
God.
at?
I'd fucking
this
shoot her.
what I'm saying. Yeah, well, this
Yeah,
is
I'd
before
shoot
they've
her.
moved in. This is before they.
I know, but like,
purchased it.
you know what it reminds me of? Remember Step Brothers when they
Yeah.
don't want the house to be sold, and he's like acting like Hitler and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. Hey, Derek, sprechen Sie dick. That's what it reminds me of. She doesn't want to lose the house, so she's staring into the cabinets talking. I'm telling you right now, any of my fucking kids do that kind of bullshit. Like they want to get possessed, they want to fuck around and get possessed. Not on my watch, dude. You will be dead.
Well,
I'll shoot you. I'll shoot the ghost right out of you.
that's a good way to put it. So they were kind of in
Shoot
and
Satan.
out, getting their stuff in and approaching closing. And so she's there acting this way the whole time, but she does eventually leave when they close on the home. She's out of there. Excuse me. But now they've got to find somebody else who's going to live in the first floor apartment, right? So over time, they're there. Or it's kind of like a lot of the stories you've heard. Like it starts innocently enough. Like they thought they heard footsteps, but they kind of disregarded it. Lights kind of flicker. They disregard it. It's an old house. And they kind of think, I think you talk yourself out of stuff. And they didn't really have a lot of options. I mean, the baby's coming. They've got to be somewhere. One thing to note, when they moved
I'm not
in,
talking
I think,
myself out of ghost.
I know. Well, I don't think I think they're talking themselves out of the idea that it is one right now, right? They
I
look,
almost
it's
shot
not.
your AC unit upstairs at your house.
When it
It
came
was
on in
making
the
some
middle of the night.
fucking noises. Thing came on in the middle of the night, scared the shit out of me. The thing is the loudest AC unit I've ever heard in my whole
I
fucking
like
life.
it though, but it gets cold. It gets cold. Currently
It
not.
does,
in
but
this
it's,
moment.
when it
I'm
kicks
running out.
on and it's super loud.
It
I
is.
almost
Oh
shot
yeah.
it.
I don't know. I didn't put that thing in. So one thing it's important to note is the house. When you say fixer upper, that was an understatement. This home had been ransacked. So it wasn't just because an old crazy lady lived there and it was unkempt. It had been like wallpaper ripped off, floorboards pried up, as So somebody was looking for buried treasure, kind of a thing. It had been completely ransacked, top and bottom floor. So they actually had to one time a mixer, and this was pretty early on into them living there. And this is where I'm with you, like if I could sway myself away from the lights flickering like this, I'm out. But a mixer flew off the counter and landed like above the woman's head on the wall. And to this day, she'll describe it. She's like, it didn't fall. Like it was most certainly thrown. This one gets me worse, actually. So their keys kept disappearing, like their keys to the home. And so Ed said that like at least 2 or 3 times he had to go get new keys made. And then the old keys would show back up weird places, like on top of the refrigerator or on the bathroom counter, but they would be like bent or twisted. Right?
Nope. I'm out, dude. I'm done.
I know. It's like,
I'm done. Shoot everything. Unless it's like getting like raped by a ghost.
Oh, do you want to be?
I mean, kind of cool. I just want to get haunted by a sexual. I want to be haunted by a sexual ghost. I don't want like a scary.
I just feel like maybe it's too
sexual one.
obvious, but I feel like this is like we're going a segue right into an ad read.
Just lays me right down on my ghost bed and plows me like an angry Dave Osborneson in his ISIS costume.
Okay. It's not the ad
If
read
you
I wanted.
like a slutty ghost, Eric says, yeah, like I want a nice slutty ghost. I don't want like the mean like, ooh, let me throw a cake mixer at you. I want the one that's like, I'm gonna throw you down on the bed.
I want one that would clean my house.
Yeah.
Did they do that?
I can't get one of those kind of ghosts. Like, damn, I came home, the creepiest thing happened. My floors were vacuumed.
Yeah.
Fucking creepy, dude.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be good. I'd go for that.
If you get raped by several ghosts, is it a boo cocky? Come on. Give that one to daddy. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. A boo cocky. That was a good one. Folks. All right. I'm done. Be here all night. Lázaro Lopez says, Tansey, would you rather your kids be possessed or be paintball players? I'll shoot them for doing both. Dad,
possessed.
Satan's possessed me. Bam.
No, it's like
right between the eyes.
No, it's like
Dad or paintball player. Bam. Right between the eyes.
It's like possessed, paintball player, airsoft.
If you get raped by like a boy ghost, is that gay? Like, if you enjoy it, like you can't see it. It's not like what's penetrating you. It could just be like a girl ghost pegging you or something.
Wait, but you
right? Like you just like come home and you get like bent over the counter and the ghost just rams you from behind over and over again. You're just like, well, maybe it's a girl ghost pegging me.
All right.
maybe it's not a boy ghost.
Okay. So we get a new family that moves into the home. They finally are going to get to rent out that first floor. I hate you so much. It's a man and woman with a little baby. Immediately, Marcia is pretty thrilled. She would enjoy having a friend. I think her words actually were at some point she said that she was relieved because someone would be able to hear her scream. But she did want a friend, and she was happy that they had a baby, as she's just had her baby, and they can all be there. Now, Ed did take, he said to this day that he kept the man at an arm's length because, it was a landlord-renter situation. So he wanted to be buddies with him, but he also didn't want things to get weird if the situation didn't work out with them all. So their names were Dan and Diane. So funny little story, not funny, but there was a time when Marcia now Diane never saw this, but Diane's baby was in a walker. You guys, when you put the baby in the little thing with the wheels and they can, with their little feet, the baby's legs were not yet long enough to reach the ground. I think they kind of just had the baby in there for containment purposes, really. And Marcia looks over to see out of the corner of her eye the baby in the walker going across the floor, but the baby's feet are not. Yep, the baby's feet are not on the floor, so it's being pushed. And she even said the way the baby's head flew back, she could tell it was being pushed, and she caught it just before it hit the top of the stair landing. And this is when she got really concerned because she was already getting concerned with events in the home, but she didn't think that she was more concerned for herself. She didn't, for some reason, think that her baby was in danger. And this was the first time she felt like we're all, it's fair game here. So we learn later, as they all start talking, that the tenants downstairs thought a lot of the noises and things they heard were coming from upstairs and vice versa. So each couple thought the other couple was just having like really bad marital problems. And we'll talk about it, but it escalates into really bad noises of abuse and these kinds of things. And they think the other one is. And so we'll learn that not only the two couples not really talk to each other because the tenants didn't want to sound weird and, like make it weird for the landlords, the owners of the home. So they didn't want to say anything and get kicked out. The landlords didn't want to say anything to the tenants because they didn't want to lose their tenants. So they didn't really talk in that way. However, the four individuals did not talk much. So Marcia and Ed, he talks about it to this day. We'll talk about the books he's written, but he actually wrote a second book based on his wife's perspective during this because he was gone kind of from sunup to sundown. And so while he experienced a lot of these things, he didn't experience most of it. She was home all day with the baby. And they said the hours that this stuff would occur would generally be between like 6 a.m. until like 10 p.m. And honestly, the overnight was okay. So, but she was at home, that whole time every day. And so he would get maybe a little bit in the morning and some of it in the evening, but not as much. So anyway, she didn't talk to him a lot about what her day was like. He ultimately felt very out of control, very he wanted to feel like a man, and he wanted to feel like he could control what was going on in his home, and that he said as much, and he didn't feel that way. Again, remember, this was 1971, guys. So he'll tell you that this was before the movie The Exorcist. This was before the Amityville Horror. This was before any of these things came out. Really? They came out now very soon after. They came out not like it was early 70s, after the televised exorcism that they have here. And we learned that people had like a thirst for that kind of thing or that kind of TV viewing, but these things had not happened yet. So he even says, the only thing that I could equate the idea of a ghost to would be Casper. Like he had nothing. He had no creepy images and you know what I mean? The things that we all know about and talk about now. And if you want to get spooked, you watch it. They didn't have that. And so he was like, I didn't even know how to talk about this to people. People would think I was crazy. So that's kind of important to note as well. Around this time, though, he said he started seeing a dark and human mass, like human-shaped mass, scurry quickly from one side of the room to the next.
Fucking shoot it, dude.
Well, but you're not. I mean, you're gonna shoot your baby in the next room because.
Well, the baby's already possessed. Fuck that baby. It's moving itself around in the carriage. It's moving its carriage around without putting its feet down.
That was the neighbor's baby, and the ghost pushed it. The baby wasn't.
Well, I mean, just give the ghost what it wants.
Well, so soon after this,
just get really naked all the time. Just be like, "Is this what you wanted, ghost? Is this what you wanted?" You're like spreading your ass cheeks all over the place.
Well, he did start at like accosting the ghost a little bit and yelling at it once he got angry, but so
really,
this.
Dude, I feel like if you get to that point, just get the fuck out. I mean, if you're yelling at a ghost, I don't even like being in this office right now by myself. Like I'm in my studio all by myself right now. I'm packing, locked and loaded. I'll shoot anything that moves right now. There's a creak above my head. Bam, bam, bam. Fuck you, ghost. Fuck all of that. Seriously, if you get to the point where you're yelling at a ghost, why aren't you just leaving? Just be done with it. Light that fucking place on fire. And when the insurance adjuster says what happens, be like, there was a ghost in there. There was a fucking ghost in there. I lit it on fire and I burned it to the fucking ground. You're welcome. Give me my check. Get a new house.
Listen, after this, the bathtub starts acting up, right? So,
No.
so
No.
Ed would notice that he couldn't take a bath. He preferred baths. He could not take a bath. He had to take a shower because when he would get in the bath, if you think of an older type bathtub, the metal drain with the chain, right? We just got a big super chat.
Shandor 1920 says, "Happy Halloween. Add to Andrea's vodka fund."
All right.
She's gonna need it.
Appreciate that, Shandor. So the metal drain has the chain that goes from the faucet, right? Like you've seen one of those. So when he would get in to try to take a bath or to try to start letting the water fill up, the drain plug would pop out and the chain would wrap itself around the faucet. And that happened enough to where he just stopped trying and just started taking showers.
Dude, I wouldn't even take a bath in that house.
And so then the wife got in the bath. One of the only times they mention physical touch, they talk on it some. I think we'll learn that the neighbors downstairs had more. They think that they actually had more activity downstairs, if you can imagine. And we don't hear a lot from them later on as the years went by. But was that the wife, Marcia, got in the bathtub and felt a presence like touch her. Like she said, it just very specifically felt like a human touching her and freaked her out. So she begged Ed to have a priest come bless the house. So
let's see how far it goes.
Well, so the priest came to bless the home. He said he had done that multiple times. He was there for just a few minutes and he had a brass dispenser that he would use to like shake out the holy water throughout the home as he's saying his prayers. And as soon as he started to shake out the holy water on like first pass, the brass shattered and fell to the floor in pieces. He bolted and never came back and would never return their phone calls.
I wouldn't either. See,
you got one job, priest. You have one job.
That's a smart guy. That's a smart man. No, that's a good man. Like, that's the one
joking.
where all the movies is the winner. He's the one that doesn't die. Cause I'm like, yeah, dude, all you guys else, everybody's trying to fuck around with this ghost. Like, just get the fuck out. Or you play a battle of the minds and not a battle of the wills. You leave the house every day and you just turn on Jim Terry talking on podcasts. Just leave it running all day. Be like, all right, ghost, you want to fuck around? You can listen to Jim Terry talk all fucking day.
That's like a seer tactic right there. Yeah.
Have fun, bitch. Enjoy my home. Boom. Have a good day. I'm going grocery shopping. I'm going to go walk around the park. You can listen to Jim Terry call people gay, homo, heroin addicts all day long. Enjoy my life, you cocksucker. That's how I talk to ghosts, by the way. Unless you're hot.
You're doing what you said you wouldn't do.
Unless you're a hot, sexy ghost and you want to fuck around in the bathtub with have a candle lit and a glass of wine and maybe a nice sex novel written by
You look like
Don.
Roy Orbison right now.
I don't know who that is.
All right. We can't continue this show. So
just make them watch Britney Spears' Instagram all day.
Oh gosh, I was just scrolling yesterday and it popped up and I'm like, oh God, like I'm always startled by it.
Take that, ghost. You think you're crazy? Well, look at this bitch.
Man, it's pitiful.
You want to see some crazy shit, ghost? Check out Britney Spears' Instagram.
Oh God, it's just like a lot of just like I can't like just holding on to all the bits and pieces. So by now, like I said, Mark or not interview I listened to a couple days ago that he said, yeah, I didn't ask her. I didn't come home from work and ask how her day was. He said, because I know how her day was and I knew it was out of my control and I didn't want to talk about it. So Martha now, which I think is just insanely sad or something, she now will take the baby and when he leaves for work, they will go, and this was a decent sized home. I mean, I think it was over 5,000 square feet, but I mean, it's split between the two, but still they each had a good size area to be in. She would take the baby and go into the kitchen and camp out in the kitchen for the whole day until he came home. She said they were one of the few people around who did have a colored TV at that time in that area. Never looked at it, never went in the living room. She said, now don't be mistaken that it's not that there was no activity in the kitchen. She said there was. She said plates would fly across and break. things would get scooted around, cabinet doors would open and shut. She said, but the overall feeling in there was less sinister than in the rest of the home. So she didn't like it in there either, but she felt safer in there. And there was also a door to get outside from in there. There was a time where she actually packed up the baby and would just go sit on church steps for the whole day until he came home from work. She could no longer be in the house at that point.
Dude, burn that motherfucker down.
I know. So
Super
Ed
easy.
would get home from work and he started talking to the neighbor. And this was, again, all of this, they only lived there for a couple of years, guys. So like a lot of these things happened right off the rip. So he starts talking to the neighbor, who was an older man at the time. And he said he had known the family who lived there before them. And he said he'd been their neighbor for 50 years. And the family that left or died in the home was the original family that built the house. Evidently, and not just on his take, but from what we've learned from other people as well, many of those family members were mentally unwell and not treated. And just, he said they pretty much kept to themselves. He did tell a story, though, that about that one of the women in there, it was one of the suicide stories, had gone into a depression and started seeing things and did hang herself. So we know that. But like I said, we already knew about some of the history there. At some point, though, Ed goes down into the basement, and he doesn't like going in the basement. And he talks about that. That's one of the last places he ever wanted to go into in the house. He always felt more of an unnerving feeling there. In fact, he said that his like fight or flight would almost kick in, to the point that he sometimes has lost memories from being down in the basement. Like his adrenaline was just pumping, and he just kind of zoned out while he was down there. So at one point he goes down into the basement, and there's one of his buddies was over, and they go.
What?
I just heard
hear
a really
something?
yes.
No. I'll
No, it's
fucking
okay.
shoot
I
you
think,
right through the
like-
screen. I'll
What time
shoot
is
you
it?
right through the screen.
No, I think it's okay. But like, as I'm telling the story, it scared me. So he goes down in the basement, and a buddy was there, and there was an area in the basement that had like a padlock on it. It was almost like its own thank you, Mer. It was almost like his own or like its own like a shed entity within the basement. Remember what I said about the whole house being ransacked when they got there? Like, anyone who left the home, remember, they left it as an heir estate, had rummaged through the whole thing. So to find something with a padlock that was intact on it, I mean, he's creeped out by being down the basement, but I think a little intrigued too, right? Because now it's his house, whatever it is in there, it's his. So they bust open the lock and get in there. They found a lot of so this was like what, 71 at this time, maybe 72, and they found a lot of what he thought at the time was very old pornography then. Kind of like vintage, like the early on, like the OG porn.
Like,
so that's
full
one thing.
bush.
That's one thing. But what was more disturbing were there were boxes and boxes, like shoe boxes and bigger boxes of stacks of papers bound with rubber bands, and there were multiple, just hundreds and hundreds of those. But if you take the rubber band off and flip through those, it wasn't just pictures of women or clippings of women that were cut out. It was clippings of like women's body parts. So it might be like a pair of legs or a waist.
Oh.
Or, like just a face or a torso, like, and they were all like stacked and bound with rubber bands up to once people came and like kind of investigated and looked at all this, like over like 10,000 pieces of them. They all of these stacks and all of these papers had the name Ben on the back of it. Ben, if you remember, was the last person to have passed away before they moved in the house. Bendover, yes. So, and now Ed is kind of on a mission, because now all he knows is the name Ben. He doesn't know the other people that died. He doesn't, but he does at least have a name. So he kind of has something to unleash his aggression on now, now that he's getting frustrated. He's almost getting to the point where he's past scared and he's angry, because now this is his home and he can't control this. So he started shouting at Ben. Like, this is when he started kind of losing his cool a little bit.
Dude, no way. I'd be like, Ben, you're about to fucking burn, dog. I'm lighting this house on fire. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I
hope you like. I hope you like The View, Ben. I hope you like The View. That's all it's gonna be playing on this fucking color TV every fucking day when we leave the house. It's Whoopi Goldberg and The View for you.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about those stacks of body parts?
Like, are we talking like body parts as in like hacked up body
No,
parts?
not like hacked up body parts,
leg?
but no, like clippings out of magazines, but it'd be clippings of like legs or a waist or like, oh.
I mean, dude, I don't know, man. I'm trying not to kink shame. If you want to be into that, go ahead.
I will.
Understand why you gotta. I gotta understand why you gotta keep it all rubber banded and then haunt everybody afterwards about it. Like, is he upset because he forgot to delete his porn history, aka burn all of his porn clippings upstairs? Now he's trying to make it everybody else's fault and haunt them for it. Sounds like an asshole.
Magazines, then, like, I think to clip out stuff, right?
Yeah,
am I the only one that thinks that's weird?
I mean, I've got clippings of women's body parts, but it's just your body parts. It's just like picture of your arm here, like picture of your legs.
Say less.
Feet. But I put it on other people. So it's like Sarah Michelle Gellar, but with your legs. Or it's like Pamela Anderson, but your face is on her. It's Pamela Anderson's body with your face. They're just stacks of them all rubber band together.
So can you imagine?
I'm gonna die, and Ashley's gonna be like, "Man, there's all these like weird." There's all these weird clippings of body parts, and they're like, man, what are they, like hacked up body parts? It's like, no, it's Sarah Jessica Parker with Andrea's arms.
No, I want her arms. Can we do that?
I don't think she's pretty at all.
I said her arms. She's always had good arms.
Yeah, she's got alright arms, I guess.
She's got
I
good
never
arms.
looked at her arms.
She's got good arms. So Ben. So we know about Ben. That's what it was. Ben's wife, Amelia. So the neighbor, Walter, told Ed about Ben's wife, Amelia. And he said that their marriage was filled with arguments. This is actually important. A lot of fighting. It got pretty violent. In despair, Amelia hung herself in the basement. So by this point, Diana, if you remember, Dan and Diana lived downstairs. Diana's done. She can't handle it anymore. She decides to leave. She's not leaving her husband at the time, but she chose to leave to take her baby and go stay with her mother for a while. Now, Marcia was crushed because they had become dear friends. And I mean, I think that provided some outlet to have Diana there. At this point, though, Marcia herself was starting to fall into a pretty deep depression. So we're seeing a lot of similarities here with a lot of people who have lived in that house, who are currently living in that house. Marcia was convinced that someone would be able to do something. So Ed found a psychic, this guy named Joe DeLuce. Joe brought an exorcist. So here's the deal. And when I was listening to some interviews with Ed, he pointed this out, and it was such a great point. We'll talk about it. It was ultimately clearly not successful. It's also, I don't know, counterintuitive. An exorcist and a psychic are not going to work side by side during an exorcism. They kind of have a different mindset on the base of how to treat this. So it doesn't really make sense that they would be there together. And they were. And Joe, the psychic, put himself in a trance, I guess, during it. So before the exorcism starts, they get somehow NBC. I don't even want to say somehow. I think that psychic knew somebody who knew somebody. Anyway, NBC gets wind of this and wants to film this. They want to televise it when it happens. Ed did not really want that to happen. And he felt like he owed them because they had spent a lot of time in his house. They were writing a book. He had not paid them anything. And so he kind of felt like he owed them. He felt a little obligated to to oblige. So NBC comes to film. The whole time, the sound guy, now this is something, guys, it's about a 7-minute clip. They were actually there for 3 hours, I believe. But if you go on YouTube, there's a 6.5, 7-minute clip of the exorcism that you can watch. The whole time they'll tell you now that the sound guy was receiving noises that other people couldn't hear. It got pretty tough in there. It got very tense. They said that the energy they all felt it. This wasn't some exorcism mumbo jumbo speak. When you talk about energy, it was really pretty dark and pretty gross. At one point, I believe it was, it said they all were holding crucifixes during it. And they all of their hands started to shake. They were all vibrating while they were holding the crucifixes. A gust of wind, I'm going to read this one verbatim just so I don't get it wrong. A gust of wind blew through the house. The sound of birds. Okay, so I don't know why. Birds don't freak me out, but this freaks me out. So the sound of birds became overwhelming, and hundreds of birds circled the house, screaming at the same time. The Reverend grew fierce in his incantation. And says, finally, just as suddenly as it all began, it stopped and the birds were gone. The wind stopped. The Reverend declared the house pure. Dan was compelled to move out. That's the husband downstairs.
That's what it took for Dan to get the fuck out. That's what it took.
That was it.
Bigger man than me, Dan. Bigger man than me. I'd have been out fucking like day 2.
So, So Ed's sister April had witnessed the exorcism. This is weird. And considered herself to fancy the paranormal. So she was there. She saw the same thing I'm describing to you. And after that, begged to move in.
I hope they run a fucking ghost train on that bitch. I'm talking like the world's biggest boo cocky ever.
Stop with that. You did it once. We can't. Let's not overplay that one because it was great. You did a good job. We're done with
what you're gonna need, though, is like if you're gonna get into that, if you're gonna be that kind of a human being where you want to go out and hunt ghosts, you better be damn good with your firearm. And there are 2 great firearm training systems, and that is the iTarget Cube and the United States Carry Concealed Association. I hope. Concealed Carry Association. I always get it wrong. It's 50-50 shot when I'm not reading it. And I don't like to do my ad reads. I like to do them all from my brain. I don't like to read from a screen because that makes a boring ad read. But the other one is the iTarget Cube. It's the next generation of home firearm training devices. It allows you to shoot at multiple targets with an iTarget laser bullet. You can place the iTarget cubes throughout your home or training facility and control them all with the iTarget Cube app. The app and the cubes communicate through your home's Wi-Fi connection. The app will tell you exactly how fast you were able to shoot each cube. So you put this little fake laser bullet in your gun, and then you can dry fire your gun through basically a laser. The iTarget cubes are sold in 3 packs, and you can get them individually, so you can buy more. A laser bullet and AA batteries are not included with the cubes, but can be purchased separately. A home Wi-Fi connection is also needed to use the train system. The reason why you don't get a bullet is because like everybody's got a different fucking gun, so you got to go out and buy your own little eye laser bullet there. But like really cool stuff, man. There's like a target thing. It updates your phone. It's safe dry fire training. The U.S. military uses it. The police departments, several police departments using it. Competitive shooters from all over the place. We sponsor a competitive shooter through my distillery. He raves about this thing. He actually got us in contact with these guys. So it's pretty cool shit, dude. I'm super happy to have them on. Head over right now to itarget.com. That's itarget.com. It's a great Christmas gift for that fucking warrior in your family. It's also it's going to be for a man though, right? Women can't be warriors. I'm Jim Terry. Women can't be warriors.
No.
Women are whores. I bet that motherfucker is so single. It's crazy.
He hates women.
Isn't it crazy? He hates women.
He really hates women. Yeah.
And then tonight's episode is also brought to you by GhostBed. They've been a loyal sponsor since day one. And again, right now they've got that 40% off flash sale going on through the holidays. It's deals so good, it's spooky. Number one bed guaranteed to get you laid by a ghost.
I like that.
If you want it.
I think that should be part of our read.
I don't think it's cheating if it's a ghost. What if you walked in? I'm at your house. I'm going to set the stage here. I'm at your house doing another event, doing some kind of thing. And I'm up in the spare room. You hear something going on. You walk up there. I'm getting plowed by a ghost. You calling Ashley and ratting me out? Like, you just see me. I'm just like I'm naked on the bed.
That looks like some shit you would do at my house on your own anyway. That doesn't look a lot different. But
I'm just getting bukkakied all over the place.
That just looks like you on a Wednesday.
After accidentally taking 2 blue chews at the same time.
Just writhing in the bed solo like that. On an empty stomach. I'm not sure that matters, quite frankly. Not sure that food intake is part of that process.
Sarah Couch says, Tansey really wants to sleep with a ghost and it's scary. Don't kink shame me, Sarah. Don't you fucking do it. And go back to Russia with that bullshit. Go back to Russia where they communist king shamers. If I want to get plowed by a ghost, I can do it.
Getting close to wrapping it up, but I just told you that Ed's sister April was there for the exorcism, enjoyed it, wanted to move in. They allow her to move in, but then she starts to become too comfortable with the situation. So like Ashley just said this is not the first time he has asked out loud, would it be cheating if it was with a ghost?
That's my wife.
What's your answer?
She should
Ashley?
be in the kitchen making. Women aren't allowed to watch. Women aren't allowed to even watch podcasts. You're not even allowed. You're not even allowed. Get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich. I'm Jim Terry.
Yeah, you are. So,
bitch.
So that's better. That's more like it. So she starts becoming a little extra comfortable in her situation, right, with the supernatural. And so she starts feeling like she's like one with the spirits, if you will, almost like she can control or train them and what they're going to do. So she started to point out to Marsha and Ed, who were both at their wits' end already, that she'd say things like, look, I can make this cabinet door open, and it would like open.
I can
or
make
like
this butt plug disappear. Next thing you know, Ed's like, oh.
like it was like, Ed.
Like, damn it.
Oh.
Did you have to make it disappear into my ass? Martha.
So they came home. They told her to stop all this mess. And they came home one day and she had a friend over and they were playing on a Ouija board. As soon as Ed walked in the room, he said he felt very uncomfortable. He felt very cold. That the pointer very quickly went to the name, pointed out the letters to spell the name Henry. He got angry and threw it away, ripped it up and threw it away. But then later talked to who said that? Was that
great? You can fuck with the ghost. Have him make me a sandwich. Have him go to the fridge and open it. Open the fridge.
Open the fridge.
She's like, hey, Ed, while you were gone, I was playing with the ghost. He's like, great. Have him fucking make me a sandwich.
Make me some dinner. So he rips up the Ouija board, but then he's still unsettled by the idea of it, right? So he goes at some point and talks to his neighbor that has been telling him about the household. And the neighbor confirmed that, in fact, there had been a Henry that lived at the home. And he was, I think he said that he was disfigured in some way. We don't, who knows? I'm not sure what was wrong with Henry, but that they kept him in the home solo. He wasn't allowed to see the light of day, basically. So that name that was on the Ouija board was a real person. And And then onto the pets, we'll talk on this a little bit and we can wrap it up. They did have pets, and so, at one point, their cat was seen being I mean, it was as though there's an invisible arm, right? Like, someone, like, lifts the cat is lifted and held out of the window and dropped. The cat survived. It was, I think, like, 20 feet, but I guess the second story.
Now that's my kind of ghost right there. Fuck that
And so
cat. It's probably on the
but I
sofa
mean
again.
It was yeah, it is, yeah, it lived, but, that happened, but then they talked about their dogs and, the growling and scowling and things that they didn't generally do, staring at a wall, staring at things they couldn't see. They had this dog they'd had for years. It was their, family pet, and it moved with them around and never tried to leave, never tried to go away, and one night, they were lying in the bed, and the dog jumped on the bed and faced the doorway and was staring intently at something, and they said that he was growling and scowling so much in a way that they've just never heard him make those noises, and, he finally jumped off the bed, and it seemed like the threat went away, and the next day, the dog jumped the fence and ran, like, never ever came back.
Shoot
Never
the dog
to
for
see again.
even scaring me like that.
But the dog
Shoot
left.
whatever's on the other side of good.
The dog
Fuck that dog.
left. No, but I
I'm
mean, he
leaving
knew what to
too.
do.
I'm
He
going
knew
with
to
the
leave.
dog. I know that. Yeah, I'm
It's
like
okay.
I'm all for it, dude. I'm right with the dog.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm following the dog. I'm out. Although if my dog jumps up in the middle of the night, starts growling at the door, I'm shooting the dog and whatever's on the other side of the door, and I'm leaving. And my kids are gonna be like, "Dad, wait!" And I'll be like, "Nope. I've taught you better than that. Keep up."
That's true. They
Saving
talked about
myself. I'm
there was
taking
another
my patron saint of immigrants candle with me though.
there was another time they talked about seeing, like, a couple of, like, kid girl ghosts in white dresses, and that's where I'm out. I draw the line at kid
Yeah.
ghosts.
Nah. Oh yeah, kid ones no. But like girl ghosts in white
Ooh.
dresses, I'm all for that. Just not the kid ones. I want them to be like 18. 19.
Oh, stop talking.
I want a 20-year-old ghost. I want like an old ghost. I want like a
You want Jane
45-year-old.
Seymour. You want a
I
Jane
want like
Seymour ghost.
I want like a Jane Seymour cougar ghost.
Yeah, you do.
Oh God.
Oh gosh. I
How do
can't.
they
I
fucking how do they win this? How do they win?
So they leave. I will tell you this: Dan and Diane, the neighbors downstairs, eventually got a divorce. His sister April, the one who was so excited to move in after the exorcism, eventually she became coherent. She's almost like in a she's not there. She's got just wild, mad schizophrenia and now epilepsy, which is interesting. It's not usually a late onset diagnosis. So that is interesting because she was the one who was kind of dabbling, if you will. There were a lot of divorces, a lot of mental breakdowns after all of this. I will say that Ed and Marcia are still very happily married. They say that this almost destroyed their marriage. At one point, Marcia did leave as well to go stay with her mother, and finally Ed had had enough. They decided to sell the house. They get a new realtor. He and his wife are looking at the house and trying to show it to other people, and they're trying to be honest about kind of some of the things that went on. And as soon as they did, that realtor said, my wife and I love the paranormal. We dabble in that. We'd love the home. Dun, dun, dun. That's who
What
gets
is
the
wrong
house.
with people? Anything happen to them?
Not that I know of. There's a lot to be said on this. So, before I forget. So, Ed wrote a book about 10 years after this happened. So, early 80s, he wrote a book called, I think, The True Haunting. And it was about his experiences. And then people did give him a hard time and kind of said, like, you've not really mentioned your wife a lot, but she was home all day during all of this. Like, what does she have to say? And that's what I touched on earlier, that he didn't really want to ask her a lot earlier. But when he decided to sit down and write this book, it's all basically from her perspective. And he said, it was the first time, it was 10 years later, that I was really hearing everything that she went through during it all. He just really hadn't known her issues with it, with the baby and the whole thing. So he wrote the second book, The True Haunting 2. And he's even said that if other people who were part of this want to come, he's still alive. They're still married, and he's, open for
Dude,
writing
we
another
need to get him
book.
on the show.
Yeah, he does. I thought about it. He does do occasional interviews. He's kind of, I mean, you got to think that was 1971. So he's kind of, that was 50 years ago that this happened. Like he's kind of over it at this point, but he will talk some. But so get this, it wasn't until I had no idea until I started reading about this case, knowing that this is what we're going to talk about. Screen Gems, which we have a Screen Gems production studio in Wilmington. There's one in Atlanta and Miami too, but so maybe it's this one, is picking up the book and making a movie out of it that's coming out soon, maybe this year or in spring of next year. And do you know who one of the stars is? I forget his real name in real life, but if you've watched the current season of Stranger Things, it's Vecna.
I have no idea.
Did you watch the current one?
You're
so full of it. Well, your wife and children have.
I've never seen a single episode.
Well, your wife and kids have. They like it.
Yeah, they watch it while I'm at work.
Okay, well, Ashley,
I don't watch that
Vecna's
bullshit.
gonna be it's just a cool
I don't like scary
idea.
things.
Oh,
Sarah Kell says, I wonder
that.
what Tansey would think if I was a ghost in a white dress. Would it scare him because I look like a child, or would he like me as a ghost in a white dress considering I'm in my 20s? Sarah, if you were a ghost, I'd be like, damn it, why did I have to get the 12-year-old ghost? Why couldn't I got
That's
like the
fair,
old
Sarah.
aged ghost?
Honey, why did you ask that question, Sarah?
Sarah, it could have been any fucking ghost, Sarah. It doesn't matter. If you want to be a white ghost, if you want to die, if you want to off yourself tonight and come and haunt me, go ahead. It's not cheating if you're haunting me. If you want to wear a white dress, yellow dress, I don't give a fuck. Whatever you want to wear. It's not cheating. If she's dead.
Yes. Jay God's Grapes, the weird third right looking guy. Yeah, I didn't say he was handsome, but it was a cool character to be in this
I'd have to see some
movie
ID,
adaptation. Let me tell you
I'd have
this
to
too.
see some ID.
Real quick, when he wrote the books, he said that these books were actually just his journal entries. That was just him keeping a journal day to day. And at some point when some time went on, I read Drew's thing, when some time went on, his youngest daughter, in fact, he let her read some of his entries, and she's the one who encouraged him to publish them into a book. And so she helped him do some self-publishing stuff. And then it went on and got a little bigger, and they were encouraging him to kind of like beef up the story or make it a little, extra. And like it clearly needs nothing else. And there's a lot that I didn't even touch on. But anyway, so he kind of stands by the fact that everything in the book is exactly how it happened because they had actually just been his journal entries to start with. But now it's going to be a movie and it's going to come out soon. And I do kind of want to see that. I don't like horror movies and I don't like scary stuff like that. But now that I've read about the case, I want to see the movie.
Sarah says that she'll haunt me forever. As long as you don't haunt me more than 3 times in one night. I get tired. It's not my limit.
We learned that. Episode 1 of Night Shift.
I only want to be haunted no more than 3 times in one night.
That was one of our costume recommendations as well, to be Catherine Knight and her husband. But I mean, he was decapitated and skinned, so I don't know how you're going to pull that off. Are you just reading comments right now? What are you doing?
I'm just reading comments. That's so much fun. It's a Halloween, man. Getting excited about Halloween. It's been a really fun show. I like the haunted and supernatural. I'm trying to take my mind off of it all because I'm in this building all by myself. It's a big fucking building. It's like what, like 4,000 square feet probably in here?
Probably.
Maybe
it's
pretty big.
Probably like 3. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, it's pretty big, but I mean, it's old. It's an old building.
I think my concerns there for where you are is not something supernatural, but I digress.
Like right now, I just get raped by a ghost right here on camera.
Is that your rape face? Like, what the hell?
It was like 2 ghosts just fucking
2 ghosts, 1 gym.
2 ghosts, 1 gym tear, and then I started talking. They left. They're like, fuck it, we're out. Like, this dude's too stupid for us.
Oh my!
I don't want the girl ghost.
What's so what's going on? What's up with your book? What's going on? What's new?
Just waiting, man. Just waiting to
All
hear
right.
back. I mean, we
Tell
put
the
the book
people.
out.
They're
and,
excited.
actually sent a little texty message out today, and they said everything's going well. Let's chat on Thursday.
Cool.
So I said, sure, let's chat on Thursday. But that's all the text message said.
Okay.
So I just texted like, hey, just looking for an update. Want to see what's going on. Because if you don't know, we were gonna self-publish the book. But then somebody caught wind of the book through all of you guys sharing posts and everything like that. So somebody reached out to us. We had a really big meeting. There was a lot of not promises, but a lot of there was a lot of hype brought behind a company that wanted to work with us. And so we started a process with them to just kind of see how it's going. And we're at what, like, it was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, maybe a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably right at a
so
month.
that, you know, so, you know, it takes time for their senior editors and stuff to read the book and come up with the, you know, contracts and all the other things. So I sent a little texty out today and said, you want to know if there's any updates, yada, yada, yada. He just texted back, said, everything's really good, man. Or just making some minor changes to descriptions of people in the book.
Oh, they are?
I don't know what that means.
That's
Well, yeah, I
interesting.
mean, like they don't really make the changes. They write like they're what they would do, and then I guess they send that to you, and then you. I think it's just like maybe, yeah, I think it's maybe like they don't. I mean, I don't know. Like maybe I was too descriptive of some of the people, or maybe they think that like maybe since they have fake names that they should have fake descriptions too. I don't know. They said we'll chat about it on Thursday, so I don't really know anything other than that. It was a very vague message. It's a very vague message. So that's where we're at on the book. And difficult to look out pictures has just been hammering out some artwork. You just did a picture of you. You did a picture of Drew Breezy, which you can find all those.
I know. Drew's was dope. And so when I saw Drew, I actually sent Drew a message and said, secretly, I really want my own, but I'm not going to ask for one. And so I didn't ask. And so didn't say a word. And yeah, so this morning when I woke up and saw that I had one, I was really pumped. And so I told him, thank you very much. But yeah, super cool.
Awesome. We need to put them all like on the Failure to Stop page. We need to get like a group,
that'd be fun.
Like a team one. Send them some of these super chats. Yes, Dead Leg Media. That's who made those. They came out amazing. Yeah. Difficult to look at pictures.
It's right here in the chat.
Instagram.
Talk to him.
Also known as Jonathan Bates, but I think Jonathan Bates is private. So if you're going to follow his public page, it's difficult to look at pictures. He did all the artwork for my book, including the artwork that's on the cover and all the pictures inside the book, because it's not a real cop book unless there's pictures.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. No, it's dope. I really enjoyed.
What are you doing for Halloween before we go?
Yeah, the kids are just neighborhood stuff. It's on a Monday, which kind of stinks. But yeah, neighborhood stuff.
Oh,
well, we were.
I know.
Things have
Homeschool
changed,
for the win.
but
Then your house got haunted.
But yeah, no, it's gonna be good. It'll be there's always a ton of activity here, and like, you know, carloads of kids dropped off and those kinds of things in the neighborhood. So it'll be a good time. Neighbors are doing some stuff that we'll all go to later.
We got a Halloween party at the distillery Friday night. It's our biggest
event.
I
saw that.
It's our second biggest event of the year. Our Valentine's Day is our biggest, but our Halloween party is always a really big deal. And it goes really late, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm really excited about that Friday night. My parents are going to be here to babysit the kids, so Ashley and I will be cutting loose at the distillery Friday night. It's going to be dope. The DJ, and I got to get our costumes together and probably Uber to and from. So that'll be fun. People get to party with me at the distillery for once.
Yo.
And
can we call out Jim Terry, who's in the chats right now?
No, shut up, Jim Terry.
What it says, I don't think it's really
Jim Terry tonight.
She's gay. She's gay and she's a heroin addict. And the Mormons hate her.
No, that's not
the Mormons and the Muslims hate her. Because she's gay. She's on heroin.
That's not Jim.
I know. Shander1920 says impersonations are the ultimate form of flattery. They absolutely are, man. I say it all the time.
I don't think that's really Jim.
Who gives a fuck if it is or it's not? I don't care. If I were Jim, I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude, I made it. Do you know you've made it when people start dressing up as you for Halloween? Like, that's when you made it. And look, everybody's got to have a bad guy. Everybody's got to have a bad guy. The WCW, the WWF wouldn't be shit if it wasn't without the NWO. Without the bad Sting, the black and white Sting. When he went from Jeff Gordon Sting to the Crow Sting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jay Goldscrape says that's not Jim Terry because he can't read or write. That's kind of what my take was.
Well,
that's
if it
what
was Jim Terry, we'd be
but...
hearing a whole lot more. It'd be paragraphs.
I feel like it too. You just fucking all over the place. Well, then he'd have T-shirts of like our heads being chopped off, like our dead children,
to sell at the kids' school. That's what
dude, if Jim Terry, if you start your own fucking podcast, you better have us on. That way you can make fun of us and we can make fun of you to your face on your show. Like you fucked with us on our show. Fuck with you on your show. We'll be like, they're all Christians. They were all good, beautiful children, well-respected modern gentlemen. Was that a ghost? I just heard a noise.
I don't know. And mine?
Well, this has been a really fun time. I'm glad we got to hang out with the chatters a lot tonight. It was a good football. I mean, a fucking good football. It was a good. I was thinking about arena football.
Yeah, I know you were.
This has been a really fun Halloween edition of Failure to Stop Night Shift.
Yeah. If you have just tuned in next week when we get back to real true crime. We were having a good time tonight, doing something different.
Yeah, dude. I just had to have a good time tonight, man. Drink some beers. Talk about some good ghost rape.
Bullet. It's like the bullet that's already an old fashioned, like it has bitters in it already. I hadn't seen that before. That was good.
Oh, cool.
But nobody cares about that. So.
That was a good story, Andrea.
All right.
So I should leave the true crime to the men. Leave the true crime to the men. So for the mediocre Hooters manager at a small town, Hooters and Jim Terry, the man, the myth, the legend, the MVP, the linebacker, quarterback extraordinaire,
Becker.
PI licensed in all 69 states. Until next time, guns up, giddy up.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, you. Make me a sandwich.